295 pounds of good food each year while spending no more than $5 a week. It's especially useful if you've been struggling to find the money to put into a long-term food stockpile. You'll also get the recipe for a coated meat that fueled the conquests of the Ottoman Empire for centuries and prevented them from starving, even when the scorched earth strategy was deployed against them. You can't afford not to have this one in the pantry before the next crisis. I'll also show you how to make the portable soup that saved Lewis and Clark on their iconic 2-year expedition across uncharted United States territory. This weird-looking soup is no gourmet meal, but it will last for ages just by sitting in your coat pocket, no matter how hot it gets outside. I'll also show you why, as long as you can peel the bark off this tree, you'll never have to fear starvation. And the best part is it grows on almost every street in America. I'll also show you how to make fermented soup people from Turkey used to survive when crops failed for 3 years in a row. This food is called tarhana, and unlike any regular soup, it will stay good for years on your shelf as the fermentation process kills all dangerous bacteria. It's also a great source for almost every one of the essential B vitamins. You'll also find out how to make your own ninja superfood. This one kept elite assassins well fed on their month-long covert missions when fresh foods and even drinking water was hard to come by. Extremely few people in the world still know the recipe, and I had to beg and bribe an old Japanese fisherman in Okinawa to share it with me. Once he did, I was surprised to discover that every ingredient needed can be easily procured in America as well. You'll also see how the Brits kept their stockpiled eggs from spoiling after Nazi bombs took out their power in most cities. Using this time-tested method will keep one of nature's most perfectly designed and nutrient-packed foods from spoiling for up to a whole decade without refrigeration. I'll also show you the amazing protein-rich soup the Iroquois tribe invented using 3 of their sacred plants. By making use of their polycultural technique, you can grow them using just 4 feet of space, as these plants are like sisters that help each other grow much faster. Next, you'll learn how to make poor man's steak. This one comes from the Amish people, who are experts when it comes to live a good life without electricity. It's a protein-rich dish, and just like the name implies, anyone can afford to make it. I'll also reveal the exact way the Amish used to stockpile it for a few years in their pantry. Another food you discover inside the Lost Superfoods comes from the wind-swept plains of Mongolia. This distinctive dish of boiled and dried dairy curds is how herders preserve the milk of their animals. It can last for many months without being refrigerated and is the perfect source of vitamins and nourishment for a nomad in winter, or for a prepper during any kind of crisis. I'm also going to teach you how to make Mountaineer's tuna stroganoff, which is one of the most satisfying survival foods ever invented. It'll fill your belly, and it's a snap to prepare. The next thing you'll find out about is not food. It's what to do with all your food once the power goes out. Many Americans are throwing away hundreds of pounds of meat and other life-saving meals during the blackouts because they don't know what you'll discover on page 291 of this book, The Lost Superfoods. You'll also discover how to make fruit leather, the long-lasting solution for keeping all your fruits from spoiling, which they tend to do in a hurry, especially when left outside the fridge. This will keep them good for months on end, and no one will ever suspect it's real food. Only you will know. I'll also give you the recipe for my delicious dehydrated marinara sauce that brings intense flavor to even the most boring of dishes. This one brought me more praise than anything else. It's a very old recipe that got passed down for generations. Store a few jars of this sauce in your pantry and no food will ever seem unpalatable. The next thing you'll discover is how our ancestors were able to preserve half a pig for one whole year without refrigeration. Their time-tested method is revealed in minute detail on page 262 of the Lost Superfoods. I will also reveal the glass jar method that will allow you to store the African equivalent of jerky, called biltong, for so long you'll probably forget where you stored it. This method removes all the moisture even further as time passes, while the meat will keep its texture, nutrients, and flavor intact. I'll also show you